So let us whatever we left in last session, uh, from where we are continuing this part. So whatever you see, mm, that is recorded, and uploading that recording on a night today and yesterday's all 7, 8, 9 introduction to array, introduction to array part 1, part 2, and the control statement. Okay. The rest of the videos are available here up to 6, 7, 8 videos and the respective notes I will upload after this session. Okay, you will get that. So let us move to the the topic, and that is something called as a call by reference and call by value. So we are talking about returning an array, and we are talking about passing an array to method, and then after that we are talking about call by value and call by reference. So the function and the method, mm, okay, are the same, and we are actually learn that every method and the functions has n number of what the parameters you can pass. So it is like a black box. We don't know what is inside that. But if we are using a built-in function, if you are using your own function, then you know the body of your function because you are writing your function body. So this is my function body, and and inside that we are writing the procedure of any specific task. Okay, what is the use of function and the method? Uh, so if you found that this particular functions procedure you are calling n number of times again and again in your model. So at that time, the entire procedure you are converting as a function or a method. Okay, Java that is called as a method, and in C, C++, we are calling that as a function. So I can pass n number of parameters. So there are parameter 1, parameter 2, and parameter n. So n number of parameters means that it depends upon my wish, and we are calling those the function who are actually validate function, we are calling that, and that is the things where the people can pass n number of parameters to that function. Okay. So that function parameter will decide by the definition. Okay. Function is sending the parameter and the value inside the variable. So if you see the definition, all the parameters you are sending as an input, and this is called as a signature of the called as signature of a function or method. So signature is nothing but what prototype you are defining here. Okay. So people may saying that it is message passing. Okay, so when you are fine, means when you are sending a parameter, then you are saying that you are passing a message to whatever the function. So this is a function body. Okay. And so there are inputs and there is an output here. So n number of inputs you can give in the form of parameters here. Okay, and only the single output is there. So function is only returning the output single here. Okay, so function cannot return more than one value. It's always return a single value. Also, that is limitation of the function here. So all functions and method behaviors is always same. So this is input. Okay, and this is the output. okay, as a written value. So if you see a function body or the method body, okay, so you people are writing a function declaration that is called as a function definition. Function or method declaration is there. So people are declaring a methods and a function, and they are using the prototype. So every time the definition is like this: return data type, return data type, then function method, function name or method name, and then parameter. A number of parameters, parameter one, parameter two, and n. N number of parameters you are defining. Then you are writing a body of the function. Okay, or you are calling the function. To studies, you are writing a definition of particular function. People are, or you should use the this is a prototype here. So let us understand. For example, so if I want to use create my own add function and I want to add two numbers here. So it's and the two numbers are actually integer type. So I'm writing the prototype like this: int add int comma int. This is nothing but talking about. The first is return data type. Mm, this is the return data type. Second is the name of what the function is. Adding the name of the function. And third is the actually and the parameter. So you see the return data type here in the red color. Okay, so this is my return data type. Okay, and then the name of the function. Okay, in red. So you can see the okay, so this is a pupil and third is either or you are going to use a variable here or not using any variable. Okay. You can use this variable or not. All these are parameters here. So this is parameter 1, 2, 3. So I'm using parameter 1. This is a function body and then I'm going to use some written variables. So I'm using written C here and writing the definition equal to C equal to A plus B. So whatever the values are there, that value uh, finding out the uh, expression and the result and returning the result. So if you see the function body here, and if you see the definition, so this is my function body, this is my return data. Okay, with this box which I told you. Okay, so two parameters A and B, and a single parameter. Okay, which is returning as a single value. That is C. Okay, A and B are the two parameters passed as an input, and whatever is inside B are not. That is the body of the function. Okay, so here someone is calling the add function. So if I'm using a public static void here, saying public static void is going to call my set string arguments. In that string arguments, I'm using these two variable, declaring two variable, there are, and I'm going to add these two now. And the number one I'm assigning 10 here, and number two I'm assigning 20 value. I can add directly here, but I'm giving these particular tasks to a function here. Okay, so it depends upon my wish whether I can add by own or we can use this yes, hand over this entire task to the function. So I'm choosing a result and calling a function, and the name of the function is add, and here I'm passing two variable number one and number two. So this is called as a pass by value or call by value. And then I print the result by using system.out.println, and then I print the result equal to or addition equal to and then I'm using plus and then the result. So it's going to print the result here. So what happened in a memory here? If you see, this is a body of my add and this is a body of my main. So if you see the process map, so in that process map, so there are two stacks for add and main here. Okay, and if you see, this is my main function. Okay, which has two variable. Okay, and three variable, and those variable are number one, number two, and number three, and which address are totally different here, and the life and the scopes are different here. So if you see the address or the name here, so name it's number one here. Okay, and I'm copying this content. Okay, here as a number one, number two, and this is the result. The last one is a result here. Okay, these are the three variables, and this is my main method. Okay, and if you see, there are again three variables of same kind, but that location is something different, and which is inside the add method. So there is an add method. If you look at the method here, uh, this is add method, and this add method adds the value A, value B, and the value C. So what will happen? The contents of number one is passed as A, and the contents of number two is passed as a B here. Okay. So it is calling, add is calling a main because the scope of the variable is within this block. When the control goes from main method to add method, at that time it's losing the value. So it's losing the value of number one, number two. Okay. So before losing, they are copying the contents of number one and number two. I know my contents of number one and number two are 10 here. So 10 and 20 are get copied here. Okay. And that is also available here for A and B. We are going to see this with the help of debugging process. Okay, and then C is an expression here we are writing C equal to A plus B. So if you see the expression here, C equal to A plus B. So whatever the A plus B contents are there, so C is addition of A plus B. So it's having result 3, and it's returning that value. So it's only single value it will return, and it will return the value 3, 30, and that is assigned to the result 30. So the result will get the 30 value. So if you see the result here, that result is something which is written by add function. Okay, and that value is getting printed. Okay, so this is called as a call by value. So even though both variables are different, but the addresses are different here and locations are different. And locations are different even though they contain the same value. Okay, and the contents are same, but the values are means the variables are different here. Okay, so number one content is 10 and a number is also 10 here. So before calling, okay, and so they are passing the value to the functions which is getting called. So let us see what happened. I'm showing with the debug process here. So how we are using the value of number one and number two, and number one, number two are not available when the control goes to add, and therefore we are calling this as a pass by value. Nothing. Okay, so let us see the tutorial number. um, okay, hold on. Okay, uh, so tutorial number 20 here, taking Java class and tutorial. So to understand call by value, pass by method of function. So I'm creating the same public static void and two arguments here, and using the two variables and in number one equal to 10 and in number two equal to 20, and a result here is result, and I'm calling add. Okay, and passing number one comma number two. And then here I'm printing my result value, which is 61 out, not print any, and say addition equal. And whatever the results are here, that value is going to print. So now I'm going to create a body of so public static and passing int a comma int b here. So this is my function body, and I'm saying in C and C equal to a plus b, and okay. So if you see, it's a written data type is int, so I should write int here instead of the void because it's written result key. Okay, so written data type must be. So I'm talking about the prototype. This is a written data type. This is why I'm using a static, because I'm going to call this main method as a static. So static main method always handle a static method. So if I'm using non-static method, then I have to call this with the help of object. Okay, that we are going to learn in when we are defining our own class at that time, and we are understanding what is class. At that time, I'm going to explain this. So this is static. For time being, just understand why I'm using a static keyword here, because I'm calling add method. So if I'm not using a static, then I'm
Sir,
saying uh, the acha, it's not sharing.
yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry. Um, okay, and so I'm sharing again. Uh, are you able to see the screen right now? So
Yes, sir.
whatever I discuss here, that there I already written in method here. So if you see number one, number two, 10, 20, and this is the result. So I need to use a static method because if I'm not putting a static keyword, it will not call through a static method. So let us understand the working of this running this file. So it's going to show the output 30 and addition equal to 30 here. But I'm showing these with a debugging part. Okay. Okay, so addition is 30. So let us understand the life and scope here and why we are taking a different name. Okay, you can give a same name, but these two variables, even though if you are giving the same name, but they are different. Okay, because they are in a different location. So I'm choosing my debugging part, and before running, I'm just setting my configuration for debugging. And instead of 17 tutorial, I'm saying it is a 20 tutorial, and I'm not passing any kind of front argument here. So there are n number of main. Every sessions, every example has a main, and if I directly click on play button here, then it will not understand which main he should use. Okay, so I have to specify through a run that my main project is available in this tutorial, and main is available in this tutorial under my package called as a my pack. Okay, now I'm debugging here by click on step into. So it's going to start the step into part here. If you look at this various arrow here, so this thing that this is step over effect, and this is called as a step over expression, and you want to go inside the definition of that function. At that time you are choosing step into F7. So I just want to move over to one another. So look at this, the number one and number two are the variable here, and the initial value are 10 and 20. Now my control goes to the add function, and when I'm saying I want to go inside the add function, so I'm clicking on step into. So it's going to call add function here. So what will happen here? So when it reach at the add function here, at that time, the A and B value are available to add function, and the scope of the variable is not there. So if you keep a watch, so I can add a watch here. Mm, So I'm just adding a watch. So I'm creating a watch. I want a watch for a number one here. So I want to check what is the status of number. So he's clearly saying number one is not known variable in a current context, because my control are inside the add, and the life of number one is not available. So still I'm adding another watch, that is number two. Okay, and I want to add a watch on A and B also. So even though they are giving me A and B value here, but still I'm uh, actually keeping a watch on the A and B. So I'm keeping a watch on A, okay, and I'm keeping a watch on B also. So I'm adding a watch uh, on B. So if you see, Now they are showing a watch of A and B and a value of 10 and 20. So now I'm moving to the next statement. So it's going to return. Once it's going to return, so number one and number two is not available. But when I'm returning back to my main method, so what happened here? So now my A and B is not available. Look at this. The scope of A and B are not available, and now number one, number two are available here, 10 and 20. So it will return a C value, and that C value is assigned to the result. So if I add a watch on the result here, so I'm getting the value of result here. Okay, and at a specific address is showing, but when I'm moving to the next statement, at that time my result value is 30 here. So if you look at that, so result value is 30, so it will return on a specific address of this variable where the variable is getting called. So variable is getting called, sorry, the method is getting called from the address called as hash 87. Okay, and the value is returning to hash 87 address, and that hash 87 address value is getting the 30 value there, because everything is treated from the location. So if you see that this main method also has an address, and add method is also has address here. So when I'm choosing the address of main method is here, add method is 87 here as per so number one, number two result also has address. Okay, each variable also has address, and each function name also has address. Okay. So your main method may have address as a 85 something. Okay, so just a different number I'm showing that. So everything. So it's saying that from 87 it's going to return the result. So it's a single address, and that is the reason it's returning a single value. Okay. So the function limitation of the function is in every programming language. Okay, function return a single value. Okay. And function, so this is a limitation of function or method, we can say. And therefore we are using a call by reference here. So whenever we want to see function should return more than one, so there is a situation where we in some function we need to we feel found we will find that we function should return more than one value. Okay, so in that case we are not going to use a call by value concept here. So when you are going to use a call by value concept, and when you are going to use the call by reference concept, that we are going to understand. Suppose I am writing a function called as a swap here. Okay, and let us understand another example. So we already learned how the scope and all this. Now I'm showing something else. So this is my swap function, and I want to swap the number. So I'm using a temporary value here. Okay, and I'm saying that I want to uh, swap this number. Okay, so my function swap will swap the these two numbers here. So these are 10 and 20. So I'm saying that I want to swap the number. So if I'm assigning the B value to A here, if I'm assigning a value of B to A, so at that time, I'm losing my A value. Okay, I'm losing my A value, and my 10 value become a 20. Okay, so in both the cases, I'm getting 20. A is also 20 and B is 20. So I don't want to lose my A value. So that is the reason we are creating one temporary variable, and within that temporary variable we are store my A value here. So what will happen here? We are assigning the A value here as a temporary value. Okay, and then we are assigning a B to A here. So we are using a 10 value and replacing it. Now I want to replace the B value with the A value. So I already store the A value in a temporary variable. Then I'm going to assign the temporary content here to B, and uh, then 20 is get replaced with the contents of A, and then I can swap the value. So 20 and 10 are there. So swapping command and swapping statement you are writing like this. So these are the two value. So you are assigning a B value to A, and then you are, before assigning a B value, you are using int temp equal to A here. So what you are doing here, so you are assigning A value to temporary, and then you are using assigning B value to A, and then you are assigning a temporary value to B. So this is basically the output, or you can say this is a function body you people are writing for swapping. So now the situation is that I want when control return back to this location. Okay. So in that case, I have to return two value, because when the control return back to a number, so number reinitialization is taking place here, and it's going to show my previous content here. Okay, that is 10 and 20. So the swapping is taking place at the function side, but it is not reflected. It is not reflected to the main method. Okay, variable. So as I told you, these two variables are different than this. So the swapping is taking place here. Now the situation is I have to return my two variables. So I have to return my a, okay, and I have to return my always as well. Okay, so in that case, I can't do that, because if I'm returning A, then I can't return B, because the limitation of what the function is only returning a single value. So in that case, we can't use call by value. Okay. So whenever you are going to return more than one value, you should use a reference variable. So we already learned in last session what is a reference variable here. So if I'm saying my number one, okay, is has some address, and that is 1001 here, and number two has some address here. Okay. And that is suppose 1005. Okay, and I'm creating the normal variable, but this time I'm creating a reference variable. So what is the reference variable? Reference variable is nothing but a new name given to the existing so alias, we can call this as alias. Okay, reference variable is nothing but the reference variable is a reference of what some other variable, and they both are sharing the same addresses. So whatever the address you are given to number one, the same address the reference variable has. That means you are some people having a pen name. Okay, so many peoples are calling with another name here. So I'm saying it's a pen name here. Okay, and when the person whose name is Raju, so people may call him some another name, but the person is same, but that guy has a two name. Okay, so suppose I'm saying there is a number X, and the people are calling Mr. X, and the Mr. X pen name is Penix, suppose here. Okay. So it is another name. So if I'm giving one slap to Mr. X, so automatically Mr. Penix also get hurted. Okay, because these two people are not different; they are the same. Because Mr. Penix is nothing but Mr. X, and it is another name given to what the name. So I can say Mr. Phoenix is a reference of Mr. X. Okay, so whatever the changes taking place at Phoenix, it will affect to Mr. X, and that is happen with the reference variable. So again, I'm talking about, so whatever changes taking place to a reference variable, the original variable is also affected. Affected means the changes is also taking place at what the origin. So that's why when the people are talking about the reference variable, so if they think that they should not returning any value, okay, they are not going to return any value, but they are creating a reference variable of the part. And so whatever the changes taking place here, that will affect to the original. Okay, and therefore, if I'm swapping a number 20, so because of a is a reference variable of number, and then my 10 also is going to uh, actually replace with 20. Okay, and the 10 become a 20, and here my uh, 20 is also become a 10. So we are not returning any value. We are not returning any value. No return statement is there. So if you see the body of this particular function here, so it's a return data type is void here. Okay, so if you see, we are not writing any return statement here. So I'm writing void and simply write a void swap here, and in that void swap we are using a reference variable name. Okay, in C++, we are using ampersand sign here for referring the variable. Okay, and some variable name and int. So here I'm using int ampersand variable two. But in Java, we are not using that. I will show you how we are going to do that inside the Java. So here we are using this variable. This is a reference variable. So I'm saying A is a reference variable of number one. A and B here. So whatever the parameters we are passing as a num1, num2, they are nothing but the reference variable of A and B respectively. So number one, number two are the original variable, A and B are the reference variable. So whatever the changes taking place here, it will affect to that. So whenever you want to overcome the limitation of your limitations of function or methods, so the people are always use a reference variable here. So ampersand B ampersand A is ampersand is the address operator in C++, and people are using that. So there is no such kind of operators available in Java. Okay, neither available in REF kind of what the thing. So when in C++, C sharp, the people are still using ampersand here. Okay, or in Visual Basic, the people are using byref and byval. Okay, so if you are using a different languages, the concept are what the same. Only the difference is you have to check whether the reference variable concept how they are explained in the respective programming language. Okay, so whatever I'm actually showing you, it is applicable for the programming language, because everything is taking place inside the memory, and the limitation is as I told you that it has a single address. Okay, and a single address where he will return the, either he will return the address or he will return the value at that address here. Okay, so there is a single location, and that is the reason when we see the concept of call by value and call by reference in an array, is what actually they are doing. They are returning the address here. Okay, because by array has a single address, and we are moving the value one after another by only locating the address. So when we are saying that this new array is also holding the same address, so whatever the changes taking place in a function, okay, and the contents of an array, because of it is a reference variable, the original is also get affected here. So that's why we are using array as a reference method. And if you want to handle a single variable, you should use and declare an array here. And for swap, if you are using object, the swap example I will show you with the help of class object. And if here I want to show a swap example, so in that case I have to create a single dimensional array here, okay, and a single variable array here. So I can't use as a reference variable, I can use ampersand here like this. And if I do so, then it start giving me error here, because such kind of what the identifier the variables are not available here. Okay, so in that case, I'm going to use this with the object, and that object I explain when we are actually handling a class and the methods here. So for time being, you just understand the concept of the reference variable and the call by value. Okay, so let us move to this is I'm saving this as a call by value and the call by reference. So call by value, call by inside a function. I'm going to share these notes, okay, in a respective class, so you can understand the methods behavior and the function behavior. So hope you understood that the reference difference between the reference variable and the normal value type. So class the pass by value and pass by reference and the pass by address are actually are the concepts where we are passing the variable and returning the uh, uh, value type variable, or returning address of variable, or returning an array. So return data type you can use in any methods here. Okay. So the next topic we are going to start, and that is very very important. So we already learned something called as a user defined method here, and in that we understood the difference between the uh, parameters. So this is actual parameter and this is a return value, addition, subtraction, all explanation I already given, and the swap explanation I given here in this notes. So I'm going to share this uh, uh, okay in your uh, class. Okay, so this is user defined method here. So let us move to the next important part, and which you are looking for, and that is something called as a object-oriented programming system here. Okay, and it's playing important role in all programming languages, and we are going to see this in a detail. Okay, today I'm going to explain the introduction of what this object-oriented programming system, and why it is popular, and why the people are still using in all programming languages. Python, C++, Java, all are object-oriented programming language, and in future also there are n number of object-oriented programming languages are going to come. So what is object-oriented programming language? Okay, and why it is popular, why it is called a real world programming language. Okay, so that we are going to understand today here. So so you know there are various programming systems, and people are writing a program in procedural programming, modular programming. Okay, and so everything is divided into form of model, the simple functions, and that function is called by a main method. So as I explained right now, so a number of methods I can call through a main function, and I can define a number of methods. So I divided my tasks into a sub tasks, and every task or subroutine are called either called as a method or function. And I'm putting those group of methods under one modules, and then I will call that as a modular program. Okay. So modular programming is a good practice for any project management system. So everybody is now using a combination of modular programming and the object-oriented programming. So what is object-oriented programming, and what are those four pillars of object-oriented programming? So before that, what is the objective of object-oriented programming? You should know that how the object are interacting with each other. So we are an object, and we are using another object with us. So it's a simple message passing technology. So you are interacting one object with the another object. So here I'm saying I'm interacting the object. I'm an object one. I'm interacting with my mobile, and that is object two. Okay, and these two objects are passing and sending a message with each other. So what kind of message sent by my mobile? So mobile is always showing me a user interface, okay, in the form of icon, and that user interface I can see when I'm looking at my mobile here. Okay, and I will choose the respective application from it here. Okay, and I interact with my mobile. Okay, so like this. So if I'm using my mobile here, so I'm just showing how to use this particular application here. Okay, so when I'm clicking on calling a phone, let me start my mobile. Uh, so you can see my mobile. So my mobile is showing the user interface here. So yeah. Uh, okay, so if you look at the output here, so this is my mobile here. So if you see my mobile, and this is user interface, I can check n number of what the application, and I'm passing a message. I want to make a call here, so I making a call here, so people will see the keypad. So I'm typing some number. Okay, and some number, random number I'm typing here, and I'm just making a call by pressing this. So that means I'm sending some message to my mobile. So mobile is doing some kind of what the behavior, and in the reward part they are giving again a UI in the form of output. Okay, so I can passing a message, and as an input in the form of some signals. Okay, by using touch screen I can create. So if I want to take my snap, so I am choosing the application, and I can take a snap of my uh, okay, any part. So this is a one kind of what application. So I'm using this application, and just taking a snap of my keyboard here. So it's going to generate the output accordingly, and then I will send those outputs somewhere here. Okay, so all this stuff I can create with the help of my mobile. Okay, in the form of sending and message to another message. So in real world, what you people are doing? So suppose these are the three different personality and three objects who are interacting with each other. So you are calling your milkman to deliver the milk back to your place. So you are interacting with him, and the respective services he is giving, and you don't ask anything which is not assigned to what that particular man. Okay. So if you are user and you are saying, milkman, can you dance for me? Okay, so he will not, because that function is not, even though he is knowing a very good dance, but it is not actually that function is a private function. It is not available for a public people. Okay, so he's hiding that functionality. He is only, you are only taking the functionality from him to deliver a milk back to you. Okay, so rest of the things, even he know, he is a may very good dancer, but he only make available some functions to you, and some functions they are hiding from you. So these two users are interacting with each other by passing a message, and the sending a parameters and returning the result here. So if you are interacting with your boss, the boss is also sending a message to you, and you are returning a result in the form of something in the form of result, and you are interacting the with one object, you are interacting with the another object. So n number of objects you visited in uh, every where, okay, in the form of some gadgets, or in the form of human being here. Okay, and that is the reason the object oriented program is a popular here. And don't be too technical about object oriented programming. You always think object oriented programming in a simple form, so you will find out the major answers from it, and you find out Java is a very interesting language when you are creating the class, when you are creating a class as an entity, when you are creating instance of what the class, when you are defining a class in various new forms, everything easily you can understand when you are interacting this particular and means comparing this particular example with the real world example. Okay, so what is an object? What is an object? The object is an entity which having a behavior. So I can say it is an entity which having some characteristics, that is a property, and behavior, that is a functions and method, and it has also state. Okay, so whether if I'm talking about myself, so my state is now I'm feeling sleepy. Okay, and after 5 minutes I'm going to sleep. Okay, once the my session will end. At that time, now my state is in active mode. So I'm in active mode. Okay, and after completing this session, I'm going to place me in a passive mode, and I'm just sleeping after that. So I can change my state. So what is my characteristics? So my characteristics is, I'm wearing a glass, and my body color is brown, and my height is 5 feet 7 inch. I have two legs, two hands, one brain, okay, one head, and inside that one brain is there. So everything, everyone can describe me as a some properties. People will can describe me by looking at my characteristics, and they explain me like that. And even my people can describe me on the my behavior. ओके, अरे वो आदमी जो आहिस्ता बोलता है, या चिल्लाता है, या काइंड ऑफ व्हाट द, अरे बीच बीच में कुछ खाता है, काइंड ऑफ बिहेवियर द पीपल you are assigned to you, and then the people are looking um, about your behavior and characteristics. Even though if they don't know the your behavior, they know your behavior, they don't know your name, so the people are describing you. For example, this is the last example which I'm taking. So there is a one bird sitting on my window, whose body color is black, and he's having back beak, and the body entire body color is black, and he just making some sound like rock kind of sound is making. So I'm talking about the behavior of what that bird, and characteristics of what that bird. So automatically you can imagine the image of what that bird to whom I'm talking about, and you are saying that you are talking about the crow. So if the I don't know about the name of that object, but still I can recognize the object by uh, using a characteristics and a behavior. Okay, so nicely interesting session we are going to do in the next class, and we are going to understand what is class and the four pillar of what the various part. Okay, so we are stopping here, and we will check the uh, object oriented programming in next class. Thank you.